Okay, in this video, what I'm going to do is explain how I sort of choose my bias for the day, okay? This is probably the thing that I get asked the most, okay? And I think it's because people are scared of getting a direction wrong and losing money, which is sort of understandable. But the whole point of this strategy is that you acknowledge that you're only going to be right about half the time in terms of picking a direction, and you're still able in 90% of cases to get out at break even or a profit. So you don't necessarily have to be afraid of being wrong. But regardless of that fact, I get loads of messages all the time. Where do you think the market's going today? People send me pictures of charts with arrows all over it. What do you think about this analysis? Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know where the market is going to go ever. I do analysis. I make a prediction. It's either right or wrong. It's really that simple. You actually have to be comfortable knowing that you can be wrong, and that's essentially what trading is, okay? You guys can use any analysis methods that you want. I'm going to show you 3 things that I look for in this video. You can choose to use this, you can choose to ignore it. You can use pin bars, inside bars, Elliott wave, smart money concept, order blocks, whatever it is that you absolutely love to use to analyze the market. Use that if that's what you want to use to give you your direction for the day or for the week or whatever, your long-term bias. But acknowledge that you're only going to be right about half the time. Nothing that you do will be any better or worse than what I'm going to show you in here. And usually, and a lot of people don't agree with this, it usually won't be any better or worse than if you just guess. Because I've actually tested this with algos, okay? Just buying and selling randomly. They all win 50% of the time, okay? And they all lose 50% of the time. In terms of predicting a direction, they are right or wrong 50% of the time. I haven't seen anyone find anything that is, definitively accurate at proving direction. It just, I don't think it's out there because price is essentially random most of the time. Anyway, let's have a look then at 3 very simple things that I look for. The first is indecision. So what's indecision? Indecision can be defined as sort of a candle which has no clear direction. So they typically have a small body like this one and wicks at both ends. And if you look at this chart, you'll see them absolutely everywhere. So there's plenty of examples of candles with wicks at both ends and small bodies. This one here also has a small body, certainly in comparison to the candles around it, but only very small wicks. This is still indecision, okay? There's a couple of them here, here and here. There's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there are small candles. Small candles are indecision, okay? Now, the next thing is expansion or contraction. What is the market currently doing? Now, the market moves from one of these phases into the other. So it will move from expansion to contraction, and it will move from contraction to expansion. Let's just have a quick look. If we sort of start here, this is a tiny little candle. The market is squeezed. It has contracted. Now, what happens next? You get a big candle. It expands, it expands, it expands. More expansion, and then we go into contraction. Look, tiny little candles. It's squeezing. Big candle, expansion. Small candle, contraction. Big candle, expansion. And it just goes and goes and goes. Basically, after big candles, you will get small candles. After small candles, you'll get big candles. So, how's that useful? Well, if you currently have small candles on the chart, what do you think is coming next? Big candles. If you currently have big candles on the chart, like we do right now, what's coming next? Probably a small candle. So we can put these together, and I'll do this in a second. The third thing I look at is probably incredibly obvious, but so many people don't pay attention to it. The break of previous candle, high or low. Now, if you think about how a market moves, a market cannot move higher unless it is continuously breaking the previous candle's high. Equally, it cannot move lower unless it's continuously breaking the previous candle's low. Let's just have a look at an example. Here's an uptrend that lasts sort of 3 candles. We have candle 1. Here's its high. The next candle breaks its high, closes above. Now, if this candle did not break the high of the previous candle, it could not move up, could it? That's impossible. So the fact that it has broken the high clearly tells us the market is moving higher. The next candle breaks the candle's high and closes above. So it's repeatedly breaking the high of the previous candle. Now, here's where things change. This candle does not break the previous candle's high. In fact, it actually goes down and breaks the candle's low. So this is a big signal that whatever was happening before is not happening now. Something has changed in the market. Now, when we start to put these three things together, that's how I actually choose my direction. So let's start with indecision. We don't have any indecision at this point. The market is clearly moving in one direction, okay? So there's no reason for me to change my bias at this point. If the market is clearly moving higher, I'm going to keep buying. So all three of these days, I would have been buying. There's no indecision, okay? I would be aware of the fact that obviously there is expansion, and that it is likely to contract soon. I'm also looking at the fact that it's continuously breaking the high of the previous candle. So all three things align for me very nicely here, and these would have all been buy trades. Now, this is the point, day number 4, when it changed. Day number 4, okay, we did not break the high. We actually closed within. Do we have indecision? Well, no, not really. It's actually very decisive. It's just gone the other way. Expansion or contraction, it's still expanding. It's just going the other way. So there's a good chance then that in the morning, I might have been caught out, because obviously a previous day will retrace. I might have had some buy trades on, in which case I probably changed direction midday. I probably said, this isn't going up anymore. And maybe I did think it was going to get to this level. I would have cut some losers and started to sell. Okay. After 3 days of constantly winning, is it a drama if I had to cut some trades in here? No, of course it's not. Maybe I gave back some profits. I've had 3 days of non-stop winning. I really don't care. I gave back a little bit of profit, and then obviously the day finished bearish. The next day would have been bearish. Again, a load of winners in here to recoup those losses. What I'm going to do now is just a little example, okay? I'm on the replay tool. I've cut off price here, and we've just had this sort of big bearish candle. Clearly see it's just broke 1,000 pip level. Whenever it breaks a level, what I look for is a retest, okay? You typically want something like that. Break, retest, and then it should drop. It should break this low as a confirmation. Let's see if we get that. So at this moment, on this day, I would have said, okay, this is bearish now. So the next day I would be looking to sell. Let's see what happens. Let's move one day at a time. So the next day then, I started to put sell trades on. Price came all the way up, and then it shot all the way back down. So it's very likely then that I got out of those sell trades, possibly at a break even or a profit. Well, what's happened now? Is this an indecision candle? Yes, it is. Very clearly. Look at the wicks on the top and the bottom. Small body relative to its wicks. It's not clear which way price has moved on this day. I mean, it's gone all the way up, all the way down. It's an indecision day. Now, these two candles together, okay, this actually signals a turning point. This is actually now very bullish. Now, it might go up to here, it might go up to here, it might go 5,000 pips higher, who knows? But this currently is bullish. So at the close of this day, I would be saying, okay, I think there's a good chance price is going up tomorrow. I'm going to look to buy. Okay, just based on indecision. If we look at expansion and contraction, we had a big expansion, price is now squeezed, it's now contracted, which means I know tomorrow could either be another contraction day, we might get a couple of them, or price is going to fly up and expand, okay? So you can see how I've used both of these. Breaks of previous candle high or low. Price came down on this bearish day and closed. Did this next day break it and close below it? No, it actually broke it, came back up and closed inside. So again, that's another sign of a reversal. So you can see how all three have sort of helped me to predict that this is probably going to go up. So I've decided on this day that my bias is long. I'm going to buy. Let's see what happens the next day. So we get expansion, price shoots up from the indecision. Okay, so clearly all this trading day I won because I was buying. So I was just making some money. At the end of this day, what would my decision be for the next day's trading? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? We haven't quite made it to these highs and lows. Okay, this could be a little bearish day. It could shoot all the way back down. However, we've not made it. I see no reason to stop buying. The next round number is up here, the next 1,000 points. So I would buy again. Okay, I would say, right, the next day, I don't know why my arrows keep refusing to work for me. The next day I'm going to buy. Let's see what happens. There we go. We get another bullish day. Again, we've now broken this high. There's nothing between us and this level. There's nothing here to worry about. So again, look, it's not an indecision candle. It's clearly still expanding and it's broken the previous candle's high. All three of these are in alignment. I'm going to buy again. So the next day I'm looking at it going, yep, still a buy trade. Let's see what happens. Now we get, look, this is a very tiny little candle. So now this is starting to show indecision. But has this indecision candle formed at a level that's interesting? Has it made it to this level? No. Are there any obvious highs or lows here that this aligns with? No. Is there any reason to pay attention to this candle? No. So what am I going to do tomorrow? Well, I'm going to buy again. So I'm going to buy and aim for this level. Price is unlikely to just smash this level in one candle. It's probably going to get to this candle and wick or show some form of indecision. If you look back at previous levels, you'll see that that's what price look always tends to do. Look, little candles as you approach the level with wicks. So that's the same sort of thing I would expect here, but I'm still going to buy. Next day, and there we go. Let me just move this arrow so you can see. And we pretty much get that, a tiny candle with a wick. Now this is interesting because now we're showing rejection of that level. It's a small little candle, it's indecision, and it has barely, let me delete these arrows for a sec. It is actually, I would say that's roughly level with the high. So now we have indecision. We're definitely in contraction. We've moved from expansion to contraction, and we have failed to break the previous candle's high. So now all three things are in alignment that price is probably going to go down, and it's at a level. So this would be the day when I say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to sell. And let me just put this back on. So these are all my winning trades. I now think the market is going to go down. Let's see what happens next. Oh dear. So I'm wrong. What happened on this day? Well, we've actually broken through this level and closed, which means I got the direction wrong on this day. I'm going to color this one red. So what would I then do? Well, we've broken through this level. On the next day then I would either be looking for a big bearish day to come and sort this out and for price to drop, or I would be looking, remember what we look for down the bottom? Whenever you break a level, you want to see this. You want to break and retest. Are we going to get that? So I've probably cut some trades. If I was lucky, I might have got out at break even, but let's assume that I've taken some losses because the direction was wrong. I now want to see if we're going to get a break and retest. If this level was to hold, bearing in mind I'd be trading this in a 5-minute chart, if price dropped to this level and then goes up, I'm going to buy. If it smashes back through, I would start selling. But I would say it's probably going to go up. It's probably going to go up because this is not much of a level. This is a much more important level. So I would say that, you know, if price drops, I'd probably look to buy from this level. So hopefully it's really clear how I'm sort of using these 3 points just to pick my direction. Okay, and look at that for the retest. If I was to drop down to a 5-minute chart, you would very clearly see what I just drew. You would see that price has come through, back down, retest. That's literally what you see here, okay? So again, that would have been another day of buying. So even though I took losses, I pretty much just made them back. Let's just put that there so we can see it. Now which way am I going to go? Well, this level has held. We've gone back into expansion. We've definitely broke the previous candle's high. So all three things are now in agreement. This is certainly not an indecision candle, is it? It's very decisive. All three things are in agreement that price is going to continue higher. This is the next level I sort of want to watch. So there's no reason now for me to sell until price gets right to the top. So the next day I am going to buy again. Let's see what happens. Little indecision candle. Okay, so now we've got indecision. We've gone to contraction and we've barely broken the high. Now it's formed in the middle of nowhere. If I just look here, is there any level here? Is there any reason for me to pay attention to this? No, there's not. Okay, let's just move this down. So what am I going to do the following day? Well, I'm going to buy again because it's the path of least resistance. There's no reason for me not to. Okay, the market's actually come back down. Remember I said I was going to buy? So we potentially, even though this is an indecision day, look, price has been up and down. It's possible I've got out at break even or even a profit during this day. It's also possible I maybe took some losses. However, let's just, in fact, sod it. Let's say I lost. Let's say I took some losses on this day. Is there any reason now for me to change my direction?